So apparently we're all loners. We're all in the same f***ing struggle bus together. We're all collectively in a friendship recession. So today I want to talk about something millions of people can relate to, and that is the I have no friends trend. There are a bunch of reasons why people relate to this so much. Maybe you don't have any friends. Maybe you have people you hang out with, but you don't really feel connected to them. Or you want better quality friends. Or you have social anxiety and it's hard to make a doctor's appointment by yourself, let alone approach strangers to be friends. Whatever it is, this video is for you because I'm gonna get into all of it. So first I'm gonna talk about the loneliness epidemic gripping the world right now, and then I'm gonna share my personal story. So I've lost friends, I've had no friends, I've had bad friends, and I've been the bad friend, if we're keeping it real. And I'll leave you guys with the lessons I've learned through all of that, so definitely stay till the end. Also, if you're looking for a one-stop shop to better your mental health, your physical health, and your financial health, definitely hit the subscribe button because we are on a holistic wellness journey over here. And let's get into it. How many close friends do you have? If you were homeless tomorrow, who would open their doors for you? Who can you call after a bad day and not feel like you're burdening them? Who will always be there to pick you up from the airport? For a lot of people, that's no one. There is a loneliness epidemic going on right now, and people are finally talking about it. All over YouTube, people of all ages are talking about how they don't have friends. And these are not highly produced videos. I'm talking about people ranting to their phone camera in their car and having millions of people who relate to them when they say they don't have anyone close who they can talk to, turn to. In a world that's obsessively on social media to connect with people, we ironically are super isolated. In a culture that obsesses over finding love, we ironically don't have friends. And that is heartbreaking because researchers have found that people who had satisfying friendships were happier, had fewer health problems, and even lived longer. And people with weak social ties were often linked to depression and cognitive decline as they aged. And that sucks to hear because it often feels like making friends is harder than solving physics equations, especially in adulthood. I've always heard people say if you're an adult, if you've graduated high school or college, you can probably count your close friends on one hand, if you're lucky. And if you can relate to that struggle, you're not alone in experiencing this. I'm right there with you. There have been very few times in my life where I've had a close friend. Let alone friends, plural. Just one close friend was always really hard to find and keep. I've always had acquaintances, coworkers, people who I saw and hung out with, but I never felt a deep connection. I never felt like they actually got me and I got them. The conversations were kind of shallow and not deep and nutritional and nourishing. But I always felt like there was a bigger piece missing. A real, true friend. Someone who I could lean on and trust and call from jail if I needed to, and who wouldn't judge me and who I can eyes closed say they would always have my back. Not having even just one person like that in the entire world is tough. It feels really lonely. I remember a few years ago, it was around the time of my birthday, and I remember realizing that I was getting more into my 20s and I didn't have a group of people, who were my tribe. I remember crying because it felt like I was gonna go through my whole 20s and not have a close group of girlfriends. The people who would come over and pop a bottle of champagne after my promotion or show up with a box of pizza and wine after a breakup. I really wanted that. Graduating college was a huge eye-opener for me because the people who I was seeing daily moved all across the country to get jobs, and I kind of lost touch with them. Also, I realized that the girls who I hung out with the most were the girls who I partied with the most. And when I graduated and got a job, I realized that we actually had nothing in common besides drinking together on Friday nights at frat parties. And when I had social media, I actually just did a video on why I quit social media, but when I had Instagram, I would go on and see groups of girls having brunch together and groups of guys at bars. When it was someone's birthday, that person's Instagram story would have like 20 slides of people gassing them up and wishing them happy birthday. And like every other week, I would see someone getting married and having like 8 bridesmaids by their side. And I was always like, damn, where do you get these people? Like, you get that on Amazon? How do you have so many close girlfriends? Well, I'm out here trying to get like one. It's tough to see because you feel like, where are mine? Is there something wrong with me? Like, am I not fun to be around? Also, when I had I had Instagram friends. Like, I would have girls who would comment under my pics, I would comment under theirs, we'd watch each other's stories. But then after I quit using social media, none of those people reached out to me. And I realized we only had an online kind of artificial relationship. Like, they didn't actually care that much about me as a person. I don't even think most of them realized I was gone. So after going through a lot of struggles and friendships, I've learned a lot. Here are some things that I've learned and that I just wish I knew. The first lesson I learned was you need to define what a friend means to you. What kind of values are you looking for? If I didn't concretely know what I wanted and what I was not accepting, anyone was being let in the door. There were people I used to hang out with who would always talk shit about others behind their backs. They were always involved in drama or gossip, people who just called me to like emotionally dump on me, but just because they were nice to me, I was okay with being friends with them. When really I should have known better and set my standards and boundaries way higher. So know what kind of friend you want and set that standard so you don't pick just anyone. And also, pro tip, I've learned this the hard way, if they're talking about others behind their backs, they're doing the same to you. Also, in that same line, define what type of friendships you want. Some people are looking for someone who they can call at 2 a.m. when their car breaks down. Some people just want a weekend girlfriend who they can hit the bars with. Some people want someone they can text or call every single day, while others are okay with talking to someone once every few months. I've learned not to expect all of those types of friendships from one person. I've learned to not expect regular texting from someone who just didn't have that capacity. I don't force relationships in that way, and I don't put pressure on one person to be all of the things I want in a friendship. I'm okay with having different people who are there for me in different ways and who I'm there for in different ways. There's different types of friendships, there's different tiers of friendships, so not everyone will be your best friend. The next lesson I've learned is don't cling to people who don't nourish you or grow you in some kind of way. I have truly learned to let people go, and not even in like an F you kind of way, but just in a graceful, loving way, honestly. I think we all understand that when it comes to romantic relationships. Like, your girlfriend or boyfriend in high school might be perfect for you in that stage of your life, but as you grow and evolve, it's natural and even healthy to, meet other partners that are better suited for you, that align to the person you've grown to be. But for some reason, when it comes to friendships, we put an enormous pressure on friends to last forever. I like to think of friendships, or any relationships really, like highway exits. Your life is like a highway, and some people come onto the highway and stay for a mile or two and then take their exit. And then others come onto the highway and stay for 20 miles and take their exit. And that's okay. We're all just kind of finding our way through life, and not everyone is meant to stay on that road with you forever. You don't need to maintain a relationship with someone just because of history you guys have, or just for the sake of maintaining it. The other thing I learned is that yes, some people you naturally outgrow, you naturally let go, but others need a little push out the door. You have a gut feeling when someone is just not good energy. I'm talking about people who are maybe jealous of you, or who are reluctant to celebrate your wins, or who forget to invite you to get-togethers, people who gossip, people who disrespect you, people who don't know how to apologize. I would rather be alone and have no friends than surround myself with people with that kind of energy. And cutting the cord with these people really comes from a place of being confident in who you are, and knowing that you're a good friend, knowing that you deserve to have good friends, knowing that you're not so hard up to be around people that you'll surround yourself with bad company. Like romantic relationships, good friendships are worth the wait. The next lesson I learned about friendships is that putting yourself out there is uncomfortable. If you don't have a lot of friends, or you're not used to being around a lot of people, putting yourself out there, going up to strangers, going to parties, saying hi to people, is nerve-wracking. As someone with social anxiety, trying to make friends is so daunting, because I'm always like, what if I go up to someone and I fumble my words, or they think I'm weird for approaching them, or I say the wrong thing? That's where confidence comes in, because I've learned that, like, hey, I'm just saying hi to someone, I'm just being nice, and if they think I'm weird for doing that, that's a reflection on who they are. That has nothing to do with me, and they'd probably think anyone was weird for doing that. But putting yourself out there, going to events, saying hi to people, that only gives you a better likelihood of finding a person you click with. And it also builds up that confidence muscle. So join your local intramural soccer league, invite your coworker out for lunch, randomly go up to someone in your gym and say hi. It's not all going to be fun, and some people may have weird reactions, but regardless of the outcome, it's still a win because you're building more confidence and you're just that much closer to meeting someone. Which brings me to the next lesson I learned, which is confidence is key. It's really not just like some cheesy love yourself bullshit. It really makes a difference in how we interact with people. Confidence, one, gives us permission to cut people out of our lives that don't treat us like what we're worth. And if you have no friends, confidence really adds this light to your personality that makes you so much more attractive to everyone you meet. When I think about the people who I know, who have a lot of friends, who always get invited out, who everyone loves, it's always that person who's super confident, who uplifts others, who walks in their purpose and is quirky or different, but like shines in that. They don't try to be anyone else. They don't try to blend in. When I'm not confident in a social interaction, I sometimes avoid eye contact. I'm like fumbling my words. I'm nervous, and it kind of stifles the natural flow of the conversation. People can feel that awkward energy and it can really dampen the vibes. But when I walk into a conversation and I'm not as worried about what they're thinking of me or if I say the wrong thing, the conversation just flows better. So if you go up to a stranger and say hi, being sure of yourself that no matter what happens, you're good, you're just being nice, having that confidence really comes through and really boosts people's perception of you. The next thing I wish someone told me was, don't feel embarrassed to not have friends. Don't get cold-hearted from it. Because in the times of my life that I had no friends, I felt really embarrassed by that. I became really closed off because it felt scary and embarrassing to be social and be super outgoing and to still not have friends. So I purposely chose to just say I'm an introvert and I like being alone, and that's why I didn't have friends. And look, there's nothing wrong with being by yourself, but I convinced myself that I didn't need or want friends because that felt easier than exclaiming that I actually did want friends and I just couldn't find any. And getting super closed off, that ended up being a self-fulfilling prophecy because I just stayed home and didn't talk to anyone, and then that made me literally less likely to meet people, and then that just reinforced that I can't make friends anyway, so why try? And that was a cycle that didn't help anything. So it's super easy to get closed off when you feel like you're putting yourself out there and it's not working, but try to be patient and not be bitter about it and just trust that your tribe will come. Another thing about friendships I've learned is to be careful what you see on social media. Social media is like one of those big funny mirrors at circuses that distort everything, including how we see ourselves. Everyone is posting on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat when they're out with their friends, when they're being social. So you log on and that's all you end up seeing, and it makes it seem like everyone just has so many friends and is hanging out with them all the time. And that's not true. It really sets an unrealistic standard of what we think socializing should look like. Also, I know couples that post pictures kissing that were fighting seconds before that was taken. I personally know bridesmaids who post pictures, posing all cute and hugging each other, but in reality, they can't stand each other. Don't compare your real life with people's fake life. And here are 2 reasons why, if you don't have friends right this second, that can actually be a good thing. 1, it can signal that you're in a phase of growth. When you grow and evolve and enter in new stages of your life, not everyone's gonna understand that. When I started therapy and started having more deep, more meaningful conversations with myself, with others about journaling, reflection, healing, trauma, there were a lot of people who just didn't understand what I was saying. So maybe your new chapter is focusing on healing or saving money, or maybe you've entered in a long-term relationship and you can't relate to the people who partake in hookup culture. Growing to another level of you sometimes means distancing yourself from people who are not on that same journey. It's possible to have that same level of closeness, but if you don't, that's okay. If anything, it just shows how much you're growing as a person, and you will eventually find people who who are on that same journey. And the second reason why not having friends right now can actually be a great thing is that you have so much more time and space to work on you. And I know that sounds cheesy and oversaid, but I'm speaking from experience, so hear me out. I am going through a process in my healing journey where I'm basically unlearning everything I thought I knew about myself. And I'm rediscovering myself, my personality, my standards. And it's really hard to do that in front of other people because I'm changing so rapidly from one day to the next. I'm playing with different facets of my personality. A lot of days I'm just looking inward and I'm not as smiley and bubbly and confident because I'm just self-reflecting and healing. And that process is really scary and vulnerable. Taking that time to do a deep dive into yourself, understand your traumas, heal from past experiences. Think about times you've been a bad partner, a bad friend, and why. What are your triggers? That process is so underrated, is so beautiful because you know on the other side of that, you can show up as your true authentic self and the best version of yourself. Plus, there's a saying, you can only meet other people as deeply as you've met yourself. And that is so true because now that I've started therapy and started understanding myself, my anxiety, my triggers, I understand others so much more deeply. Now that I've learned to be more compassionate to myself and judge myself less, I'm that much less judgmental to other people. So if you often find yourself alone on your weekends while others are partying and hanging out, that can be good. That's just that much more time to self-care and do you. That is all I have for you guys today. My next video is going to be on how to live a soft life while still staying disciplined. How to live that gentle self-care life while still being a freaking badass that gets shit done and makes no excuses. So stay tuned for that and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.